See that? I was in court today and I left this message 12 hours ago because I'm on day 356 now of the worldwide Megacrisis Hungerstrike to save your beautiful life. And it's getting tough out there. It's always darkest before dawn on the real hero's journey. And you're on it with me, with the rest of our species, because we can't outrun the Megacrisis. The only way out is through, and I welcome you. I got crushed in court today in the weirdest ways possible. The good news about it is I'm learning how bad the system actually is, why the poor are still poor. It makes sense now. So when we design God's government or the true government or the wise government, if you're atheist, we're going to fix all those things. And they're not even hard fixes. The legal industry here is captured by the legal industry because they self-regulate in the separation of powers, but it's an abstract, false separation that's causing a huge amount of injustice, that's costing billions in public trust loss every year. So the court made a mistake today, a mistake I couldn't predict. I predicted almost everything else they would do because it's the Attorney General of my province, Alberta. That means like the lawyer of the Minister of Justice himself is who I'm suing because I said, I recognize that this is an unfair legal system for the poor. What else does the Messiah do? Fights for the poor, not just in terms of the inner world now, kingdom come in the inner world, but the outer world too. Kingdom come becomes actual inner and outer align. And if you're not religious, you can just go along with the scientific form of this, the real rational form of justice. So I'm starting my stream right now and reeling about this because I've been through 2 years of court. I've seen 20 judges, 40 or 50 court appearances. I filed probably closer to 200 motions. My legal case for the poor now is the largest single plaintiff litigation in Canadian history. The only cases that rival mine in size are class action lawsuits of thousands of people, like multi-year. So they did not think I would go so far, but I have, and I would love your support. If you're tired of these justice systems, well, they're not justice systems, they're legal systems. And this judge just railroaded me. I've had 4 judges out of these 20 that are really bad. They really shouldn't be judges. They're ornery, they're rude, they do not follow the Canadian Judicial Council's principles for ethical judges, where you're supposed to give self-reps, like people who don't have lawyers, the poor. You're supposed to give them space to ask questions and understand what's going on. And this guy was just absolutely brutal. He didn't even let me defend one of the applications. Wouldn't even let me talk to it. And he threw it out. Or he allowed it forward, which struck the defendants, threw the defendants off my case, which was transcript management services, because they privatize transcript fees, which means even if you are poor and you get a government fee waiver, it doesn't apply to private entities. So it's a very clever way to block the poor from right to appeal if a judge does not give them fair treatment, which is happening very often. So we're going to redesign the whole system. Here's what happened. Here's the mistake. I filed for this court date so that I could challenge a scheduling order that was going to lock me into this thing that the Attorney General wants me to do, which limits my rights. So I saw that they were doing that, and I prevented it in time because now I'm more experienced. When I showed up today, my application was blocked because the wrong judge was in session. The courthouse scheduled for the wrong judge, even though my application, my lawsuit, was directly referencing the date and the order that judge made. There's no excuse. They knew that I needed to have that judge there if I'm overturning that judge. And guess what happened? The transcript management services and the Attorney General filed 2 last-minute motions. And I filed an affidavit to address those last minute. And then when I showed up, my original application, the one that was supposed to be heard And if we would have heard it, there wouldn't have been time to hear these other applications. Oh, my application got set aside, had to be adjourned, and their application got heard. And then the judge, I'm like, fine, I filed an affidavit. Judge wouldn't even let me defend myself. And then when I caught him, because I know the law now, there's a rule that says the judge can't make a judgment without telling you the particulars. So I caught him. I said, Your Honor, I don't understand why you made that judgment when I didn't get to propose my case. I said, I need to know the particulars of your judgment. He just wouldn't answer me. It's like, well, how are you supposed to defend yourself in court if they don't tell you what their judgments are about? It's bizarre. It's just the most, it's like somebody just telling you straight to your face, you're wrong, and then get out of my courthouse. It's like, well, where's justice is reason. You're supposed to have a back and forth about facts and evidence and arguments. So if you're not having any facts or arguments or anything being shared, then it's not a justice system. It's a dictatorship system. It's a legal system, not a justice system. And there's laws about this. There's actual law, and then there's like ethical principles that say don't do this if you're a judge to litigants. It's shockingly bad. So I'm floored. But it makes sense why our societies are so brutal and why nobody trusts them. So they say you can have a right to appeal. I can't afford an appeal. That's always their excuse. And they block it in that clever way by privatizing the most expensive part, the transcripts that you need to file the appeals. And they won't waive the appeals or the transcripts. So I'm going to try and find a judicial review and a complaint to the Canadian Judicial Council, who also doesn't reply. And they're going to block the judicial review because the courthouse is backed up by all these AI litigants, because now everybody's coming in with much more sophisticated cases. So now the next time I'm going to be able to hear that judicial review is a year from now, and everything's going to be forgotten, and the world's going to end by that time. So it's all just a show. And I've learned this. I've documented. This is another mistake. So this is like mistake 120 from the courthouse. Can you believe that? It's hard enough learning the law on the fly when you're already emotionally charged from the injustice you've experienced in society, that now you have to experience 120 mistakes that can cost you your case. And it's just bad. It's so bad. Like, if Facebook designed the courthouse, we'd have an app with reminders, and it'd be so much better. Our justice system is from the 1800s, when racism and slavery were still blocking people from the courthouse who are not white. Or each country has their own racism. In some countries, maybe white people get blocked, like in South Africa. So it's all around. It's not just one race or one ethnicity. Okay. I wanted to get that on record because I'm really fighting hard. Like, it's taken hundreds, thousands of hours on this case. And what I'm coming away with is they're not going to let me win. So either we create a movement and we say, you can't keep doing this to me. Or AI, I put a stay order in and I wait till AI is so good that it wins the court case for me, which is probably going to be in the next couple of months. That are pushing hard to get it out. But I just had 2 orders that allow at least the other striking application of the Attorney General to happen in September, in about a few months. But it's because of these mistakes. And the courthouse people are great most of the time. They don't like the system either. They're tired of it. The sheriffs and the police tell me that they do not like what they're seeing in the courthouses. You guys, please help me change this. Look how charged I am. I'm so hungry right now. It's 22 days, no food. So anyway, I had to file taxes for free, and I found all these free things, and I did all that. And now I'm going to get back to the emails and designing this new platform. This new platform that you're going to be using hopefully soon, of God's Government or the Spirit platform. Oh, wow. And I just want to say that because of my legal experience now, and because I've been studying poverty for 20 years now, and I was born into poverty, so I have a visceral experience of it. Launching this governance model globally is not naive. We know what we're doing legally, politically, socially, psychologically now with universal logic, right? That's the last piece. The dialectics and God's logic, the power of the word. And designing these meetings these special meetings that we call ever living meetings off of thousands of meetings that I've had. Thousands. So I've seen what works and what doesn't work. So this is not just a naive initiative. I have 1,000 people that I'm contacting tonight. I had an AI redesign the platform in an it's great. It looks exactly like how I want. So when you come in, it'll be simple. It does a whole bunch that the government should be doing, but super simple. And you get rights to flow, which if you saw my other videos, you get them. Now, the other thing I want to mention here quickly in terms of the emergency update is Cloud Mythos is destabilizing everything. Like just last night, my personal update is I'm charged. I was vibrating this morning in the court, but you got to stay calm or else they'll call the sheriffs on you. So I made the judge know that I was very unhappy. And I actually turned to the crowd behind me and I actually said, corruption in the court. Mark that on the docket. And it shakes the judges when you do that because everybody's terrified of the judges. So when somebody confronts them like that in a calm tone, they can't use the normal, like, get out of my courthouse. And they can't charge you with all the anger. It's like normal person, calm, calling you out and with facts. So if you call them out without facts, it's just baseless accusations. And yeah, sure enough, the next self-rep that came after me just got rolled. The guy, he destroyed the other guy too. I think they take a delight in it after a while. Your hard hardens in the courthouse. Anyway, world news. The head of XAI's safety department, or not their safety either, chief engineer, just announced a month ago, but now it's really coming to the fore publicly, that he said in 3 months, iMessages, all these digital systems are going to start collapsing because there's no way that these companies can protect from the deluge of AI hacking that's coming. My University of Alberta just sent me an email and the rest of the university that we just got hacked and all of our personal data was exposed and held for ransom over the last month. And they didn't tell anybody. They paid off these extortionists to get our data back and they somehow proved that it's not on the dark web or something like that. Can you believe that? That's happening now. And it's going to increase greatly. Your bank account could probably be drained right now because there's thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities. Yeah. Right now, it's the beginning of the end. Help me launch God's government and align AI, Cloud Mythos, Anthropic with universal logic. You guys, don't wait. Okay, there's a 5-minute email that you can see in the links for asking me my DMs. I'll send you it. 5 minutes, you send it to them. And then if you get enough people, they'll do it. Okay, world news, crazy stuff. All right, but I'm out here for you. Now, we should do an element of the core, but I want to say something quickly. The wifey slogan is, if she's too hardcore for everybody else, she's just right for me. Help me find my wife, I'll help you. We're setting up these huge meetings where you come and we're going to do matching on 3 different levels so you can get what you need and not be exploited by all these apps and all this profiteering off of our needs, off of our humanity. I want to say that in case I run out of space on this phone. This is going to be another long update. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do the core. I'm going to tell you something that's some beautiful person in the chat, Saram is his name, left me a beautiful comment. Because if you're watching my live streams, you're seeing me battle with one of my core supporters who's funding my survival right now. If it wasn't for him, I couldn't afford to get these 1,000. Well, I got 2-3 people actually funding. So he was the one that took care of some of the groceries that I had. Because I have no money. I'm living off of total goodwill, right? Good old-fashioned social justice. So the core has to be very simple for people to learn as we scale, and we're getting ready. So the core is Fair World Spirit course. Look at this, I'm tired. Fair World Spirit core starts with time compression through clarity and ego wisdom. The problem being the Megacrisis, the solution being the 2 sacred sentences, and the implementation of that solution being the flow, rules, and flocks. We're unpacking the Megacrisis. We just did almost all of the Metacrisis within it. We just did community, right, last time. So now we're going to do the heart of the problem, which is fragmented consciousness. And the reason why I'm sort of battling it out with my supporter here is because things get confusing in the beginning culturally. Because people who look good and think that they're good are actually doing terrible things, but they don't realize it usually. So when you call them out, when somebody's doing the real inner work, like me, for instance, who has a clear vision on what we need to do, comes and challenges a good person like that, they think that something's wrong. because their comfort zone is being challenged. So this guy thinks that I'm out for power, I want glorification, I want all these things because he changed his behavior about 2 months ago and stopped really supporting seriously and started pimping me for all this universal logic knowledge so he can go and be Mr. Popular at this conference that's happening in 6 months, which will be too late for what's happening. The system will collapse by that time. So I said, can you move the conference up? And he's like, no, and starts saying, you're the one that wants power. I said, nah, probably the dialectical reversal is happening. You probably want power, or exploiting me to gain this power without doing the work. I said, you can I'll work underneath you. If you want to rise to Messiah level consciousness, I'll do it. But you got to actually act like the Messiah and not stay comfortable. And he's a wealthy man. I said, don't stay comfortable. You actually have to take a risk and do something real. Otherwise, you're just benefiting off the status quo and doing charity. And I said, I'm on a hunger strike. Go on the hunger strike. Oh, but the hunger strike's for the limelight, adrenaline rush, like I told you last time. I said, you don't get adrenaline rushes on a hunger strike. Trust me, it's the opposite. And if you're a narcissist, you don't go 356 days of suffering like this. There's much better ways to get your kicks. This is real, and it's showing that thick and thin, I stay the course, I stay productive, I'm focused, and I'm disciplined, and I care. Even when I'm treated poorly and people are projecting onto me, I still do not give up the vow of unabandonment because I know it's just fragmentation in their mind. Most people see the world backwards from how it actually is. So when you try to correct that, when you invert the inversion, they feel like you're the backwards one because that's all they can see because they're on the surface level of reality. That's why they kill Jesus Christ. That's why they punish almost every divine master who first comes. And that's just dialectic. It's the second moment of universal logic. There's 3 moments. Abstract understanding, dialectic, and sublation. And sublation is what fixes that fragmentation. So it writes everything and it starts to flow again. And me and my supporter here, if we get past the dialectic, we'll start to flow as he learns what I'm seeing in him. And I'm acknowledging, I could be projecting, but I'm very good at recognizing projection now. He's on the surface though, and he's not adjusting my arguments. So when you come and deal with me, I won't give up on you. I'll take your pain on. That's what it is. You're always going to project your fragments until it gets past that moment, and then you see clearly. And if somebody points out a mistake, a human mistake that I make, that's fine. Human mistakes are fine, but universal mistakes don't happen with the Messiah. It's always in the direction of the vow of unabandonment and healing, even when it gets dicey. And it's darkest before dawn. That's when the Messiahs come out. That's when the real leaders come out. And it's getting pretty dicey. It's getting pretty dark, you guys. But hang in there. I will free you. All right? So if your mind is fragmented, your work is fragmented, the people you talk to are fragmented, your family is fragmented, your civil society is fragmented, your state constitution and your international politics are all fragmented. So that's why if we solve the fragmented problem, we solve all the others. And that fragmentation in leadership is what I'm solving with my friend now in these meetings. And we'll be training up, hopefully, 108 people in one massive meeting with this new awesome platform. And if you want to donate to help us build the platform so I can pay for the AI agents and these people, then that'll go towards the platform so you can use it. And then you don't have to go through this painful experience that we have to go through building it. It'll just flow. We're fixing the fragmentation in governance. Isn't that amazing? Right to flow. That's for you. It's waiting. And so I'm very excited, but I'm very hungry. So I got to send this out tonight. And I have to hold my personal life together because it's just, they're crushing me. Just every way. So anyway. And also thanks to the beautiful women who are reaching out. Thank you. I see you. A little busy, but if you're changing the world, that's what will get my attention, right? Because I can't be pulled into just my hedonistic needs. My wife is already building the spirit plan. She's already doing big things. And so when we talk, it won't feel like I'm doing an either or. It's either her or the peaceful revolution. We're doing it together. Okay, so we can bake our vegan cake and eat it too. And I really appreciate this guy Sauron in my comments. He said, you know what? He says, you're not deceptive, Mark. You're one of the purest people in terms of your principles. And it's true, I am. I really am. I've lived my whole life this way. I wasn't just with the poor. I was born into poverty. Okay, and the Messiah starts there. As the poor are lifted, I get lifted with them. And as I get lifted, the poor come with me, all right? So the more that you help, the better I'll start combing my beard. I'll start getting some resources, right? But I won't do that while they're being sacrificed. So don't mistake my external appearance for the inner resolve and the wisdom here. There was one more thing. So Sauron So this guy that I'm battling with keeps saying, "Oh, you're being deceptive. You're being deceptive." No, I'm not being deceptive. His mind is filtering and forgetting things that I'm saying because I'm communicating at a level of nuance it's hard to capture. So we're always making solutions. So I said, whenever this guy comes into the meeting with me now, we have to have an AI watching. We're streaming and recording, and everything is being documented so we can go back quickly and say, nope, you misremember that. Because once people get into the deeper world, it cognitively overwhelms them if they're used to superficial living. Even if they have a high IQ, it's a different non-linear way of thinking. So I really appreciate that. If you've been watching me, I'm challenging a lot of things, and people are going to push back and try to invert me. But if you pay attention to my words and my direction, you'll see that it's always consistent. And if I make small mistakes here and there, they're contingencies that I try to correct right away. But the direction is honest, full of integrity, authenticity, and goodness, and care and love, and genuine wisdom. Okay. All right, my mouth is dry. I gotta stop talking here. My chest is burning. All right, wish me luck on the emails, and hopefully tomorrow I'll have some good news that we'll have the meeting this week, and then I can eat. We need 3,600 blessings. I'd love for you guys to help. All right, until tomorrow, stay blessed, fight for real justice, stay in the peaceful revolution, stay wise, and keep sublighting. Peace. See you tomorrow.